Hello, it's Florida Man Coasters here. I want to be talking about my top 25 coasters I have went on. I have went on over about 300 roller coasters in my time as an enthusiast. And this, I'm going to be talking about my top 25. I already did the 25 to 50 in another video that I released about 2 weeks ago when this comes out. And you guys should go and check that out. But let's get into the list. So at number 25 is Millennium Force at Cedar Point. This is right the first time I went on it in 2022. I didn't particularly like it. I thought it was fine, but it was a lower tier Giga. Last year in 2023 when I rode it, I liked it a lot more. I got a night ride on it. I just really liked it. At night is a lot better, and generally it was running a lot faster. Either way, I think this gives some really good forces, especially the drop. And the sense of speed it gives you is really good, and the speed hill is really good on the ride. At number 24 is Mako at SeaWorld Orlando. I believe I've ridden this ride the most of any coaster, I believe. And this ride, it has really good airtime. It's one of my favorite B&M hypers. You have to see if it is my favorite. If you throughout the rest of the list, but it gives really great airtime. Has a really good drop. The 5-second floater hill is really great. The wheelchair ride, in my opinion, is really great. But the finale is a little bit underwhelming. But the rest of the ride, for the first 2/3, are really great, especially in the back and the front row. And really, there's no bad seat on this ride, in my opinion. At number 23 is Leviathan at Canada's Wonderland. I rode this ride in 2022, and I really liked it. It was not particularly great, but I did like the ride. And it was really solid, had a good drop, and it did basically everything. It was basically a slightly better Orion in my opinion, just because it's longer than Orion, and I think they could have done a little bit more with it. But generally, it was a really good sense of speed, and I just really liked the ride in general. Number 22 is Twisted Timbers at King's Dominion. This ride gives a lot of really good ejector airtime. I still think it's one of the weaker RMCs in my opinion, but I still think it's pretty good. The barrel drop's pretty cool. Triple Cadillacs are really good, and the rest of the ride's pretty good too. It is jarring at some points, and the walker system is a little bit weird, but generally I really like Twisted Timbers, and I think that it's a really good ride. Good enough to be 22 of 300 coasters I've won on. At number 21 is Phantom's Revenge at Kennywood. This ride, the second drop, 228-foot drop, gives great airtime, has so minimal restraints, and also the bunny hills and all the hills near the end give so good ejector airtime, and it generally gives a really good sense of speed, and just is great generally, in my opinion. At number 20 is Monto at Busch Gardens Tampa. I really like this ride. Again, one of my most ridden rides of all time. And, it has really good forceful layout. The first half of the ride, phenomenal. Batwing, one of the best inversions, in my opinion. The 0G roll is really good. And the second half of that second loop is phenomenal. And also the corkscrew right at the end is phenomenal too. And this ride is just really good quality and is my favorite B&M invert. Number 19 is Ghost Rider at Knott's Berry Farm. This arguable GCI-CCI combination is really good. It has really good lateral, it's good airtime. It's like a B&M Hyper if it was a wooden coaster almost. Like, it's weird. It's not like that much like a B&M Hyper, but it is very graceful and gives really good airtime, very strong floater airtime. And it's just generally really good, and I really like it. And the theming's pretty nice. It's in a nice area of the park, and I just really like this ride a lot. And number 18 is Gold Striker at California's Great America. This ride is phenomenal. It has a really good airtime. It's really aggressive. It is really rough, but it's very, very aggressive ride. And I really like that. It gives great pops of ejector, gives good laterals. It's a really aggressive GCI wooden coaster, and one of the best GCI wooden coasters, and probably my favorite. At number 17 is Wicked Cyclone at Six Flags New England. This ride opened in 2014, I believe. I really like the strength of the airtime. The airtime is incredibly strong, even for RMC standards. And generally does a lot with its very small footprint. I think it's just a significantly better version of Wicked Cyclone with a longer layout. At number 16 is Superman the Ride at Six Flags New England. This ride is the best ride at Six Flags New England, only a little bit over Wicked Cyclone. I think the way out is just like one of the best way outs of all time, and gives a great combination of high positives and the good negative G's. I generally think the way out is a masterpiece. And I think that that like on a way out list it would be a lot higher, and if it had better restraint. At number 15 is Incredible Hulk at Universal Studios Islands of Adventure. This is a B&M sit-down coaster that has 7 inversions, and it has incredibly strong forces, and it has a great launch. The Cobra Roll vertical loop is great. The Zero G roll out of the tunnel is great. And the second half of the ride is a little bit meh, but the first half is so phenomenal that I just have to put it this high. At number 14 is Kumba at Busch Gardens Tampa. This ride is another B&M sit-down, but it even extrapolates those forces even more than on Hulk. And also the second half is really good too. So it just is a slightly better version of Hulk that has better forces and a better overall layout, in my opinion, even that they're very similar. Number 13 is Fury 325 at Carowinds. This ride is a very complete coaster. It has a great layout, just like through the ride, and it has great restraints, but I would say that the Helix near the end does kind of put a little bit of a damper, even though the rest of the ride is phenomenal and the sense of speed is really great. But I would say that it doesn't give enough positive G's, or it just does not do anything particularly phenomenal except the sense of speed. And even that I think is a great ride, is just not as good as the other rides in front of it, in my opinion. And number 12 is Twisted Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This ride is an RMC dueling coaster, which means it's 2 layouts basically, and both layouts are really good, and generally has some standout elements, including the airtime hill under the 0G stall or 0G roll slash. And also that 0G roll. Number 11 is Wildcast Revenge at Hershey Park. This ride is another RMC iBox coaster, and I think the first half of the ride is really phenomenal. The second half gets a little bit uncomfortable at some points, but because of its aggressiveness. But I really like this ride, and I think that some standout elements are the large Hamelback and the 0G stall, in my opinion. At number 10 is Air Force 1 at Fun Spot Atlanta. This ride is really good. The first element, the Raven Trust Dive, I believe it is really good. The 0G stall is really good. And the quad down near the end of the ride is really good. And the Heartline roll, 0G roll, very quickly you go through is really good too. And the generally the whole entire ride is very phenomenal. If at points it's a little bit too intense of airtime at some points on this ride, in my opinion. And number 9 is Aloro at Six Flags Great Adventure, the independent prefabricated wooden coaster. This ride has a great drop, 2 great airtime hills, 2 great camelbacks to give phenomenal airtime, and the Rolling Thunder Hill. The rest of the ride, like the middle part of the ride, is kind of meh. That's why it's a little bit lower than a lot of people would put it. But after the Rolling Thunder Hill, it does pick back up. I think this ride is really good, even though I don't think it's as good as some people would say it is, in my opinion. And number 8 is Sky Rush at Hershey Park. This ride has bad restraints, of course, but the rest of the ride is phenomenal. The intensity and positive G-forces and negative G-forces is insane. The first 2 camelbacks, of course, are great, and the rest of the ride is really good after that too, even though it starts hurting a little bit. Generally this ride is phenomenal, and I understand all the praise it gets, and I don't really understand all the hate it gets, even that the restraints are not that good, to be honest. And number 7 is Velocicoaster at Universal Studios Islands of Adventure at Intimate LSM Launch Coaster at Blitz. This ride is really good. It is overrated, in my opinion, but it is really good, and does the complete package, really. I'm just looking at the ride itself, not the theming. But I just really like the ride's layout. The first half's pretty good, and the second half's really good too. But I would say it's not as good as some people would say it is. And I just think it's a little bit overrated, in my opinion. Number 6 is Phoenix at Knoebels. This is something nobody would expect, really. But this ride is so phenomenal. It has very minimal restraints, of course, and just gives great airtime everywhere. In the front, back, you can just get wherever you sit, you're going to get some different type of airtime on some different part of the ride. It is just a phenomenal ride. It gives so much airtime. Just put your hands up the whole entire ride. It is so good if you love airtime. It is even some stronger airtime on the ride. and it's just so good. And it's a pretty decently long ride too. It is just excels at everything it attempts to do, in my opinion. At number 5, I have Maverick at Cedar Point. This ride is phenomenal. It is so intense, has a great first drop. Everything on this ride is incredibly intense, and I really like that. But this ride, I really like intense rides, and I think that there's really everything that's really great on this ride. Both the main launch is really good. The snaps are incredibly strong. I just generally really like everything this ride does. I don't think there's really much to complain about it, in my opinion, on the rides I've gotten. At number 4 is Intimidator 305 at King's Dominion. This ride is so phenomenal. It has the intensity of Maverick, but to a giant scale and even more intense. Of course, the first long turn is phenomenal. I mean, it makes you gray out to black out every single time. Even somebody kind of as went on a walk, which was like me, I gray out every single time on there. And just generally, the rest of the ride is phenomenal too. And the finale of that final switchback is really good too. Even at the Airtime levels before that are a little bit meh. The finale of the ride is still good, in my opinion. It's very close between my number 3 and number 2, but at number 3 I have Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point. This ride has great airtime. It's a very, very long ride, but I just prefer more intensity over airtime. And this ride does have a lot of airtime, but it's not as... I prefer more intense rides over it, even if they're a little bit shorter. But this ride does everything so phenomenally, except in the intensity, in my opinion, and has great inversions and great airtime. But let's go and look at my number 2. At number 2, I have X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain in Valencia, California. This ride is the most intense experience I've ever had in my whole entire life. When I went on over 240 coasters, I was intimidated by it still. It got me on my nerves, which they at least delivered in that its intensity and all of that, and how much people hyped it up. The first drop is so phenomenal, and the going up the lift hill is really intimidating too. But dropping that drop is so phenomenal, and the rest of the ride is really great through the airtime of that is kind of 0G stuff. On 0G roll because of the changing seats, and also that other roll near the end of the ride, phenomenal. All of that is so great that it makes it my number 2 coaster I've ever went on. And at number 1 is Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens, Tampa. This ride is phenomenal. It has really good intensity, really good airtime. The first drop is phenomenal. The outer bank gives good intensity and great airtime. The death roll is incredibly intense. It gives great laterals. That turn right after it also great. Reverse wave turn, I guess I think that's what you call it, is phenomenal. It's one of my favorite elements I've went on. And then the wave turns after that, step up into the wave turns after that are just really good. And the Joji stall is really good. And the finale is really good. Everything about this ride is really good, even though it might be a little bit shorter than other rides on this list. It is so phenomenal that in those 45 seconds, 50 seconds, that I have to put it up here. Put it at number 1 because of the quality of those 50 seconds compared to Steel Vengeance 70 as an example. Either way, if you guys enjoyed the video, like and comment and subscribe, and put down in the comments below what you think about this list and what your list is. Of course, my list is subjective, so put down in the comments below what you guys think. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.